Greetings, Earthlings. This is Zera. Alright, we've covered BM, we've covered MM. And as abysmal as marksmanship was, and as flawed as BM was, I'm happy to announce that survival does, and I repeat, it does feel complete in its rotation, in its approach. It's very well done. I only have one drawback on this, and it is the fact that they are extremely squishy. However, just like BM does, they have supplemental healing. Not only do they maintain Survivalist from Warlords, which gives them 50% health regeneration every time they kill a target, but they also get 15 seconds off Exhilaration every time they kill a target. Now, the fact that they have those, plus every time they do damage with Raptor Strike, they're healed for the Raptor Strike damage. Let's see if I can find it. It's in here somewhere. Blah de blah de blah de blah de blah blah de blah de blah blah de blah de blah 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 blah. It's in here somewhere. We'll get to it, but they get healed for damage that Raptor Strike does. So just like Kill Command from BM, Marksman Hunters don't have anything like that. Like, you literally live and die with Exhilaration. So, but we're not going to touch on any other specs. Let's just focus on survival. Let's move on. Fear of the Eagle. You really want to know what this is? This is Fist of Fury. It's exactly what it is. It's Fist of Fury for a survival hunter that just does not stun. It doesn't stun any targets. You can move while channeling it. But the great thing about this is that it does increase, its damage is increased by Mongoose Fury. Now, for those of you that don't know Mongoose Fury by memory, let's go ahead and review it. Increases Mongoose Bite's damage by 50% for 12 seconds, stacking up to 6 times. Successive attacks do not increase its duration. So, you've got a chance to stack this up to 6 times and actually continue hitting the target once it's up to 6 stacks. But you've only got a 12-second window to do this in. So, let's say that you get it up to 6 stacks. So now, Mongoose Bite's damage is increased by 300%. So if you can manage to get 1 or maybe even 2 extra Mongoose Bites off in that window, you could do it. Or you could, which this ought to be your goal, use Fury of the Eagle every time you get 6 stacks of Mongoose Fury up. That way it increases the damage of Fury of the Eagle by 300%. A lot of damage. That is what your bread and butter is, boys. That right there. Building up your Mongoose Fury to maximum 6 stacks in time for you to use Fury of the Eagle. Now, something that a lot of people don't realize, Fury of the Eagle actually refreshes the duration of Mongoose Fury, not all the way to 12 seconds, but it does replenish its duration to the maximum duration of Fury of the Eagle. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's get over here. We'll go ahead and close both these windows, and I want to show you what I'm talking about, okay? So, Fury of the Eagle is number 4, so here we go. So I'm in range, so I go whoop, I say whoop, I say whoop, right? Now I'm going to hit Snake Hunter, I'm going to go whoop, I'm going to go whoop, I'm going to go whoop, 6 stacks, right? Now watch the duration, 3, 2, 1, hit Fury of the Eagle, boom. Went back up to 5 seconds. It did that so it would last the full duration of Mongoose Bite. Okay? So, you are actually able to do that. You are actually able to manipulate the duration of Mongoose Fury, but only with Fury of the Eagle. Blizzard was nice enough to give us that option. It doesn't say it, but you just saw it, living proof. It does actually do this, so keep that in mind. So you could easily, with Snake Hunter, get this off 6 stacks, Fury of the Eagle, every 90 seconds. And I'll show you in a minute how you can do it every single time this is off cooldown. You could easily get 6 stacks of Mongoose Fury every single time this is off cooldown. Almost exactly when it's off cooldown, too. There might be a 10 to 12 second difference there, but almost exactly when this is off cooldown, you could always have 6 stacks of Mongoose Fury ready for this to go off. Increases physical damage you deal by 8%. Increases damage of Mongoose Bite by 10%. Increases critical strike chance of flanking strike by 10%. The remaining cooldown of Harpoon is reset when you kill an enemy. Increases damage dealt by Raptor Strike by 15%. Increases Carve's damage by 10% for each additional target hit. So the more targets your AoE Carve hits, the more damage it's going to do. Explosive shot or explosive traps damage increased by 10%. Aspect of the Eagle increases all damage you deal by 30% for its full duration. There's your Aspect of the Eagle. That's your snap button cooldown. Grants you and your pet 10% increased critical strike chance on all abilities, and increases your chance to gain Mongoose Bite procs by 25% last 10 seconds. So very, very, very similar to Aspect of the Wild. Very, very similar. Raptor Strike heals for up to 10% of its damage it deals. There's the heal I was talking about. You get 10% of your Raptor Strike's damage back as a heal. Now, your basic attacks have a chance to trigger 2 rapid additional blows. Always nice to have extra damage. Reduces the cooldown of all traps by 20%. Reduces the remaining cooldown of Exhilaration by 15 seconds each time you kill an enemy. Reduces the cooldown of all your aspects by 20%. So let's go back to the Fury of the Aspect of the Eagle real quick. This is now essentially a 90-second cooldown. It's a 1.6 second cooldown, so if my math is correct, that's actually 1 minute and 36 seconds. So, I mean, take what you want from this, but that essentially means that this is a 90-second cooldown, this is a 90-second cooldown. Let's see, what's half of 90 seconds? 45 seconds, which is exactly what Fury of the Eagle is. So you could use Snake Hunter to immediately get 6 stacks with this, and then you could use Aspect of the Eagle to most likely get 6 stacks with this. If not 6, because again, this is based on the proc, but most likely you will get 6 stacks with this. If you don't, you will definitely get 5. So almost a guaranteed 6 stacks with every time Fury of the Eagle is off cooldown, with this and this off the global cooldown, which basically makes Snake Hunter almost impossible to get away from in the talents. But I'll show you and go over the options later. But you can pull this off. Alright, so moving on. Increases the damage dealt by last rate by 10%, and increases your pet's haste by 15%, which, by the way, actually helps a ton. You're like, why wouldn't that be a BM spec? Because look at this. Your mastery, which we didn't cover, I apologize. Your pet's attacks have a 4.1% chance to grant you an additional charge of Mongoose Bite. Oh snap. 4.1%, right? Like, man, that's nothing. But that's every attack, not just its melee attacks, but also its special abilities. So this actually, the more haste your pet has, the more chance this is going to proc. And it can proc a lot, as long as the pet's on a target. So this is really, really nice. Alright, so more haste, the better. Actually, it'd be hard for me not to get away from putting all 3 relic slots into this. Increasing my pet's haste by 30%. Because 30% haste, man, that's nasty. Alright, so Harpoon, your biggest ability on here, now applies a bleed with your Harpoon ability. That's basically reapplied with your auto attacks. So you never have to worry about the bleed going off. It's not like you have to harpoon every 10 or 15 seconds to reapply this. No, it don't work that way. Once the target's bleeding, that's it. Easy peasy, Japanese. Alright, so that's the artifact trait. Unlike Marksman and BM, there are no flaws in this. I see no error in judgment on this. I like this. I like everything about this. The only thing I kind of raise my eyebrow at is this one. I kind of feel like maybe they could have benefited from this, say, like maybe, I don't know, instead of your basic attacks have a chance to trigger 2 rapid additional blows, how about your special abilities have a chance to strike for a second free additional time? To me, that kind of makes more sense than just your, your basic auto attacks. It just doesn't feel very strong. So, again, I think that would just fit, but that's my only pet peeve about this, but everything else in this tier is solid from top to bottom. I'd like to see more heal come from Raptor Strike, like closer to 15 or 20%, because it's just not very strong. Plus, you're not using Raptor Strike all that often, but because you're really trying, because you have to reapply last rate every 12 seconds, and you have to throw down an explosive trap every 12 to 24 seconds. Plus, you're trying to maintain your Mongoose Fury whenever you have full 3 stacks of Mongoose Bite. So I mean, not to mention you're using Flanking Strike basically off cooldown, so you're not really getting a lot of Raptor Strikes off. And you're pretty focus starved as survival. I mean, unless you're, you know, working on your Mongoose Fury and your aspect of the, or your Fury of the Eagle, unless you're working on this combination, you're pretty much focused, central, on all these other abilities besides Raptor Strike. So I would rather see a more increased buff to this. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. That's the only pet peeve I have, is just these two real quick. Just buff this one slightly and change this one to be just special abilities and not just auto attacks. Alright, so moving on to the talents. These are actually pretty solid. There are a couple of things that I'd like to see change, but I'm not going to really go too much into these until like I actually go over my generalization video for the hunters. Like I said, survival's pretty solid. They're just really squishy. Really squishy. They're like Feral Druid squishy. Alright, Way of Mach Nathal. Raptor Strike also grants you Mach Nathal tactics, increasing your attack power up to 3% for 8 seconds, stacking for 4 times. So this goes up to 12%. This is pretty dope. It's pretty dope, man. It's 12% attack power. You stack that on top of the 300% increased damage from your Mongoose Fury into your Fury of the Eagle. If you can get Way of Mach Nathal up with 6 stacks of this, then use Fury of the Eagle, yow. And God forbid you're able to get that up with Aspect of the Eagle, yoicks. Because don't forget, this attack power buff buffs everything, including your trap damage, your bleed damage, your heal that you get from Raptor Strike, because it's going to deal more damage, your Flanking Strike damage. Everything gets buffed by this. Remember that. Sure, it gets hard to manage, but you could easily get an add-on to count down, like right over here above your player, or right below your avatar, whatever you want to call it, and just let you know, hey, you know, you need to reapply Raptor Strike. Just hit it just one time, boom, it's done. And you only got to apply it every 8 seconds. That's pretty easy to manage. Now, if it had been 6 seconds, I can understand why you wouldn't want to take it, but 8 seconds ain't that hard to maintain. It's not. It's actually pretty easy to maintain. Throwing axes is really nice. I really wish they'd buff the damage on this and increase the range to 40 yards instead of just 30. That way it actually give you, you know, an opportunity, or maybe keep the damage the same and give it an additional charge instead of just 2 charges, make it 3. This would actually make this, you know, very viable. You could actually stay at range a little bit more. Give survival that kind of range DPS. You know, it lost, like outright lost. But yeah, it is what it is. But right now, this is actually pretty viable. You could actually use this. I've seen a lot of hunters use this in conjunction with, say, Aspect of the Eagle. They'll harpoon in with post haste, and then they'll get back to range, kind of confusing you on what they're doing. Throw a couple of axes in, get those, you know, get a few 100,000 damage. Because if all 3 axes crit, thanks to the increased crit chance from Aspect of the Eagle, plus that 30% damage bonus from the artifact weapon, this can actually do a lot of damage. This could actually do about, you know, 300,000 damage if all 3 axes crit, of course. And then you throw in the second charge, you could actually do almost 500,000 damage with this. Could be actually viable if you take it, and it's very low focus cost. And since you're so focus starved, if you're, you know, you find yourself in a gap in your rotation and you need something that's cheap to use that you don't want to waste, you know, 25 or even 50 focus on, you know, throwing axes may be your thing, man. Now, Animal Instincts, I like what they're doing here with, you know, whether giving you just an outright new ability, giving you, you know, benefits from using Raptor Strike or Flanking Strike. Either one, you can pick and choose which one you want to prioritize. But I don't like the benefits of this. What this should have done, honestly, because let's face it, Mastery and Haste are really the only ones here that are going to help you. Movement Speed's not really, because you're already going to be wing clipping, trackers netting, or even tar trapping, whatever you're pounding on, so the chances of them getting away are not very likely anyway. But again, I digress. What I would have liked to have seen here is maybe Instincts of the Monkey, which increases your dodge chance by like 20%, give you some defensives, and maybe Instincts of the Turtle, which increases your armor by like 100%, or just, you know, or increases your armor by like 200%, something that gave you some defensives as well as offensives. You know what I'm saying? I'd almost go so far as to say get rid of all the haste, the movement speed, and the mastery, and just put 3 defensives on this. You want to be a little bit tankier as a survival hunter? There you go. There's a viable option. Just replace these with some defensive. Murder of Crows, Mortal Wounds, Snake Hunter, like I said. As far as like procs per minute, you get more procs from Mongoose Bite with Mortal Wounds, but the problem is that Mortal Wounds kind of makes you like you're going to want to spend those Mongoose Bites as they come up, because then with Mortal Wounds on top of your already passive ability from your mastery, you're going to end up getting Mongoose Bites like coming back, you know, back to back in some cases, which means if you literally don't spend that Mongoose Bite like right then and there, there's a chance you could lose that charge. So I don't like Mortal Wounds. I think what they could do to benefit this and make a good change would say, now all your special abilities reapply the Bleed of Lacerate. That way all you got to do is get it on once. You never have to worry about it. I think that'd be a nice little change. Just throw it out there and make it viable, because right now Snake Hunter is the obvious choice, and I've already explained why, but I'll touch on it again here in a second. Murder of Crows. It feels like it would be really great for Survival Hunter. It's just one problem. You are, once again, focus starved. You don't have the resources to be spending 30 focus every minute for this ability. It just doesn't exist. You gotta take Snake Hunter. You have to. Because if you take Snake Hunter, you now can almost guarantee 6 stacks of Mongoose Fury with Fury of the Eagle every time this is off cooldown. So Snake Hunter is an almost absolute must. I don't see how you can get away from it. I really don't. I really don't. I mean, if you're trying to go Mongoloid on somebody and you're trying to global them in like the first 15-20 seconds, sure, Murder of Crows could probably have a place. But I just don't see how you can get away from Snake Hunter. I just don't see it. I really just don't see it. I mean, I can see a great benefit from combining Crows with Aspect of the Eagle, considering that Aspect of the Eagle's damage increases all your damage by 30%. That'd be nasty with Murder of Crows. That'd be like your own version of Bestial Wrath, but I would much rather have a full 6 stacks of Mongoose Fury guaranteed for every time Fury of the Eagle's off cooldown. Just me. Like I said, we'll cover the 45 tier in the Generalization Hunter video. Level 60, Caltrops, Improved Trap, Steel Trap. Let's go ahead and start with Caltrops. The damage is minimal, and the movement speed reduction is nice, but I don't see how this is going to be out Tar Trap, because this only lasts for 6 seconds. Or rather, this only lasts for 15 seconds, whereas in Tar Trap lasts for 30 seconds. So you could end up having 2 or 3 Tar Traps down, whereas then with Caltrops, you could only have 1 of these down, basically. You could have 2, but it'll only be like, by the time the global's back up, the first one's going to be gone. So, yeah, I would much rather spread the entire field with like 2 or 3 Tar Traps as opposed to just 1 Caltrop for like a smaller area of effect. So, just me. I would much rather take Improved Traps, which reduces the cooldown of Freeze Trap and the cooldown of Tar Trap and Explosive Trap. That's a lot better. Actually, matter of fact, let me go ahead and change this. If you actually took Caltrops, it's still a 12-second cooldown, but if you take Improved Traps, you can still have that same 12-second cooldown with Tar Trap. So that's the difference. And not only that, you have a 24-second Explosive Trap now, which honestly is one of your biggest damage dealers. So you actually hurt yourself taking Caltrops. You really do. So Steel Trap though. Steel Trap has great burst potential if you stack it with Aspect of the Eagle. But the problem is that you really isolate one of your best crowd controls. Matter of fact, the best crowd control hunters I've ever had. Freeze Trap. But now only Survival has it, and if you take Steel Trap, you're really limiting yourself. Because as of right now, Freeze Trap has a 20-second cooldown. 20.4 if you want to be technical, but might as well be 20 seconds with the global. So now you're asking me to get rid of that and turning into a 48-second cooldown that just does some really nice bleed damage? I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I can give that up. I really don't, man. I would much rather. I've actually even done the numbers, and the amount of extra damage you get out of Explosive Trap having it every 12 seconds as opposed to only every 24 seconds compared to the bleed damage that Steel Trap does, it's pretty even. It's actually dead even. Now, if you get some like crazy crits with Steel Trap's bleeds, yeah, sure, of course, Steel Trap's gonna win out. But if you're just looking at basic average damage numbers, yeah, it's pretty even. So I think improved traps is always going to be the more obvious choice here. Level 75. Okay. Oh boy. Try not to lose my lunch again. Again, camouflage. Why? Why is this even an option for survival? I don't know. I have no idea. I get it. They've had it for a while. They've had it for a long time. Survival was one of the first to ever have camouflage, but it doesn't fit them. It doesn't fit the fantasy anymore. They're not ranged damage dealers. They're melee. Unless you're trying to turn them into rogues or feral druids, but that's a really crappy stealth if that's what you're aiming for. So, and yet again, why is it even in the same tier with CCs? Camouflage is not a crowd control. Why is it even in this tier? You got Ranger's Net, which is really nice. You got Sticky Bomb, which is actually pathetic. But Camouflage, it's not a crowd control, Blizzard. What are you guys doing? What are you doing? I don't get it. I mean, you've nerfed it. I mean, it's nerfed, honestly. I mean, yeah, sure, you can use it like you used to have the glyph. Like, you can use it, you can move, you don't get seen. But you nerfed it because now we literally have to wait until we deactivate it for the cooldown to activate. So the cooldown got nerfed. So I don't get it. If it got nerfed, why are you nerfing it even more by putting it in the same tier with some of our best crowd control capability? I don't understand. I really don't. I wish I did, but I don't. Ranger's Net, Sticky Bomb. Alright, so Ranger's Net replaces Wink Clip. 1 second cooldown, so essentially no cooldown. 30 focus, same as Wing Clip. Hurls a net at the enemy, rooting for 3 seconds, and then reducing movement speed by 50% for 15 seconds afterwards. Damage might break the effect. So essentially what this turns itself into is a guaranteed freeze trap. You net something, it's rooted, boom, freeze trap, done. That's all you gotta do. You certainly wouldn't throw a tar trap because the roots share DR. So the only thing you're going to use that in conjunction with is to either kite with or use it to set up a freeze trap. That's a hell of a way to use it. It's an awesome way to use it. It's the only way to use it, really. So, awesome choice here. Sticky Bomb. Hurls a concussive grenade at the target, which sticks to them and explodes after 3 seconds, knocking back all nearby enemies. Okay, I liked the mechanic. But what is up with this 3 second timer thing? What's up with this 3 second timer thing? I don't get it. If anything, this should be like a AoE concussive grenade that knocks everybody either back or down and disorients them. This should be like an AoE scatter shot is what this should be. But it ain't. I don't know why. I don't know what for. Right now, it feels really weak. I mean, a 3 second arming time? I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me. It never has. It never will. It's not a great crowd control because, like, most crowd controls are used to either interrupt or set up other CC, and like you have to wait on this one to activate to even try to set it up. So it doesn't feel very strong. I almost feel like Ranger's Net's literally the only option you can take here if you're a serious player. Level 90 tier. Butchery, Dragon's Fire Grenade, Serpent Sting. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Serpent Sting's your best option. Dragon's Fire Grenade is a wasted global cooldown because Serpent Sting does way more damage over the duration. By the time this 30 seconds is up, you would have already done over way more damage with Serpent Sting than you do with Dragon's Fire Grenade. Trust me. It does way more damage. I'm not saying that so much damage that it makes Dragon's Fire Grenade worthless, but it's not worth the global cooldown. You literally waste a chance to get more Mongoose Bites off, get more Mongoose Bite procs, or put more damage out there, or reapply your Lacerate. Dragon's Fire Grenade really does not work in this rotation. Not very well anyway. Now, I can say this. What I'd like to see them do is take Dragon's Fire Grenade and just apply its mechanic to Explosive Trap. That way you can actually throw Explosive Trap to a target. Change Explosive Trap to Dragon's Fire Grenade. Matter of fact, just switch these out. Just bring Dragon's Fire Grenade and make it baseline. Lower its damage, sure, I don't care. But make it replace Explosive Trap and just get rid of Explosive Trap. And you can have, you can call this improved survivability and make it also affect Dragon's Fire Grenade and just get rid of this completely. Just bring it down here and replace the Explosive Trap. Because the fact that this is the only Explosive Trap works. Watch this. It throws it down in front of you. You can't, it's not like Tar Trap or Freeze Trap where you can choose where it lands. No, it lands right in front of you. So if you're facing a smart player, they can actually avoid that. If they're a smart player, they're going to be like, I'm not going to go anywhere near that Survival Hunter. If he's like staying in one area, I already know what's going on. I'm not going to go near it. So they can avoid your damage. Just make it to where we can actually throw it like on a target. Like, let me show you Dragon's Fire Grenade real quick. Let me show you how this works. Alright, so like you're standing here, you actually throw this, right? It actually throws it at the target. Now look at it. Same animation as far as like what it's made of. Just make Explosive Trap do what this just did. Make us be able to throw it to a target. Which makes more sense to me. But again, moving on to Butchery. Strike all nearby enemies in the flurry of strikes increasing. So this is basically Brutal Slash for Survival Hunters. This is exactly what this is. It's Brutal Slash. Same cooldown dang near. Same range. It just cost a crap ton of focus because it's replacing Carve. But it actually does do quite a bit of damage. It does do quite a bit of damage. Almost 100,000 damage to each target hit, and it does actually benefit from the increased damage depending on how many targets it hits from the artifact trait, just like it did for Carve. So this can actually do a lot of damage. It's just you're already focus starved, so I don't think relying on this 40 focus ability is going to be beneficial. So again, I say go with Serpent Sting. No wasted globals. It does good damage. That damage can spike easily to 200,000 if it crits 3 or 4 times, which it could easily do, and it's easily reapplicable with Raptor Strike. And if you actually want to spread some AE real quick, all you got to do is just hit Carve once. Every target in front of you gets hit with it. Every target gets Serpent Sting on it. Good way to spread damage. Level 100 tier, I gotta face palm on the Spitting Cobra. Its damage is abysmal, and the focus is nice, but its damage is horrific, and the focus is just not worth it. It's not worth giving up these other two. This is horrible. This is terrible. I don't like this. It needs to get changed. Like, how about this? How about just giving us a passive 20% reduction to all focus costing abilities? That would be so much better. So much better than this. You know what? Making Lacerate cost 20% less focus. I would love that. A 28 focus Lacerate? Oh, I'd love that. Or how about Murder of Crows, boys? How would you like to have a Murder of Crows that only costs 24 focus? Oh, that would be glorious. That'd be glorious. That extra 20% focus, that'd be awesome. Or how about making Raptor Strike 20 focus instead of 25? Or making Wing Clip 24 focus instead of 30? You know what I'm saying? Like, that would just be freaking amazing. Or making Throwing Axes 12 focus instead of 15. I mean, that 20% reduction in focus would just be awesome. But as it stands, you got this piece of garbage that nobody's going to take. Just, You're going to take an Expert Trapper. You have literally no options here. This is literally the only option you can take with any serious thought. It's the only one. Because it buffs all your traps, even ones you don't even have, like Caltrops, for example, Steel Trap, for example. But the one from Freeze Trap, Explosive Trap, and Tar Trap alone are enough to make you think, oh my god, this is just awesome. So that right there, that Explosive Trap damage is just enough to... that's why you take Improved Traps. Because the damage from Explosive Trap with this, and the fact that it's on a 12-second cooldown now, it's one of your biggest damages. I mean, besides Lacerate and Mongoose Bite, Explosive Trap would be your biggest damage deal. It would actually do more damage than Dragon's Fire Grenade. If you took Dragon's Fire Grenade, I kid you not. So again, this is your obvious choice. And Aspect of the Beast, same issue I have with Bestial Wrath. Ferocity and Tenacity, they're worthless for even PvE situations. They just don't feel strong enough. I would much rather Tenacity affect both you and your pet for 10% reduction in damage. And I'd like to see Ferocity apply a heal to that bleed effect. Cunning, I'm cool with it reducing the movement's target speed, or the target's movement speed by 50%, but I'd rather see it reduce it for the entire duration of the cooldown. Like, say, make it last 6 seconds instead of 4 seconds. It's the only thing I can think of that would really aid Aspect of the Beast, because right now I feel it's even lackluster compared to this. So, but there you go. That's their talents. Let's move to the honor talents. However, I do want to note one thing. These are ranged DPS honor talents. These need to get changed to melee class honor talents. These need to get changed. These need to have changes made to them. For some reason, they just copy and pasted this row here from the rest of the hunter specs. This is range DPS. This is not melee DPS. We need to have 10% more health here. We need to have, let's see, 50%, or was it 20% chance to have melee damage, blunted and reduction 50% damage. And then I can't remember what this one is. Is this one the, as long as you're above 80% health, damage is reduced by 20%? Yeah, those need to get changed. Moving on, back to hunting pack. So, reduces the cooldown of Aspect of Cheetah by 50%. And Aspect of Cheetah now also causes all enemies within 50%. So, that just basically makes your Cheetah a stampeding roar. Okay, my problem with this, you take this talent, sure. Aspect of Cheetah is now going to be essentially a 1-minute cooldown, but it doesn't do anything for us in PvP combat. It doesn't do anything for us. It doesn't suppress movement and snaring effects like a rogue sprint does. I mean, you've got freaking their talent right here for honor talents for a rogue reduces, it suppresses movement snaring effects during sprints duration. This is pointless. No hunter, no survival hunter would ever take this. It's pointless. It does no good. It doesn't remove snares or roots, and it doesn't suppress movement snaring effects. So as soon as we get snared or slowed after we activate Cheetah, it's over. It's done. This is a waste of talent. Mending Bandage is nice, except there's just one problem. It only clears poisons and diseases. So if you've got a bleed, if you have a magical effect on you that's doing damage, it's going to interrupt this effect. What I'd rather see is just clear all damage over time effects, regardless of what it is. Bleed, damage, diseases, poisons, whatever, magical effects, but, not all of those, just the ones that do damage. Or give Mending Bandage the ability to be channeled even while taking damage. Otherwise, even this feels pointless. There's no point in taking this. It doesn't do you any good whatsoever. I can see how in the arenas, if you run in a certain comp, like if you got a feral druid and if he's got a poison or a disease on him, yeah, maybe you can use this to, get him back in stealth, but other than that, it doesn't do you any good. There are less poisons and diseases in the game as compared to magic dots or bleeds. There are more bleeds than there are poisons and diseases, I guarantee you that. Between feral druids, assassin rogues, warriors, you know what I'm saying? Hell, even hunters have bleeds now. So, this isn't going to help you at all. This feels extremely lackluster. Master's Call literally feels like the only thing you can take in this tier, but even this feels like it doesn't fit. It doesn't really fit a melee class. I don't see how a melee class is going to really need this. I mean, Post Haste is already going to free you from roots and snares, and your artifact ability traits already give you the chance to get a free harpoon every time you kill a target. I mean, this isn't going to help you in a solo one-on-one situation. I don't see how this is really going to help you, unless you're trying to fight a mage. And sure, maybe, but this is really only going to come in handy in arenas with your partners. That's the only time this is going to come in handy, which is why I think most guys take it because of that fact. But this whole tier just feels lackluster. Feels like it just doesn't fit. It doesn't match. I like Mending Bandage. I like what they're doing here. I like Hunting Pack. I like what they're trying to do, but they need to really re-examine these, and I'll go over in another video what I think they should have done. Sticky Tar, Diamond Dice, Tracker's Net. All in all, this is pretty solid. Tracker's Net especially, it's basically another freeze trap, except it just roots the target and reduces their chance to hit by 80%. This does also affect spells, so this is pretty awesome. So if you want to avoid that Chaos Bolt, Tracker's Net, there you go. Diamond Dice is an awesome change to freeze trap, causing it to the target basically be like Cyclone. Target can't be damaged or healed, and freezing trap is no longer dispellable. So it's basically what this is. It just turns your freezing trap into a Cyclone. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Like this a lot. Sticky Tar though. Enemies who stand in your tar trap for 3 seconds have their melee actually have their gear coated in tar, slowing melee attack speed by 50%. Now, I don't know why this just affects melee, because I mean, casters that come in, this is basically worthless. If they made this affect cast time as well as melee attack speed, then you'd have something. But as it stands, this tier is pretty solid. Tweak this a little bit maybe. And I feel like you could probably increase this to 6-second duration instead of just 5. I don't really get by reducing it, you know, just the 5 seconds really helps. But anyway, that's all I got to really go over with the Survival Hunters. Overall, I really like the change. I like the rotation. It feels good. It fits well. I just don't like the fact they're really super squishy, so I had just had a couple of recommendations. Buff the healing from Raptor Strike just a little bit. You know, give us some defensives on here instead of just pure offensive abilities or, you know, mechanic improvements. And also, you know, give us, instead of Spitting Cobra, just give us a flat baseline reduction in focus cost. Like 20% would be glorious. That would really go a long way to helping. And then bring Chaos. Either make this baseline or just get rid of it. There's no reason for this to be in the talent trees. This has always been a baseline ability. You know, well, not always, but it's, for the most part, it's been baseline abilities for hunters. This has got no reason to be a talent, so just let's fix this. So anyway, went over the honor talents, went over the talents, went over the artifact trait, went over the mastery. So that's it for the Survival Hunter, boys. Overall, I think out of all the hunters right now, I say she because it's obviously a female character I've got here, but I feel like that spec is in the best place right now. It's got the most potential. Bestial Wrath hunters and Marksman hunters both have glaring weaknesses. Need some work, especially the marksmanship hunters. BM could do with a little bit of improvements, just change some percentages around. Their burst is a little nuts. Let's bring a happy medium between their burst and their non-burst time. So, and then also, you know, give BM maybe one additional means of crowd control. MM could really benefit from, you know, just completely changing how their rotation works. Maybe how the RNG works, what procs what, you know what I'm saying? That would really benefit that. And also making aim shot and wind burst castable while moving and changing the way wind burst works as far as its, you know, speed increase mechanic. But Survival didn't really have any glaring issues, any glaring weaknesses. I just tweaked a couple of the numbers. Maybe, you know, replace a couple of abilities and the talents with some improved versions of themselves. But other than that, they're pretty solid. I've played them since, you know, I've had access to beta because I was curious about how it would work, and I really like them. They're just too squishy. Too squishy. Like, they're even more squishier than Feral Druids. They're even more squishier than Enhancement Shamans. Let's face it, melee right now is a death trap for a Survival Hunter. If you're going up against, you know, just one melee class, especially one that's a hybrid, you're in trouble. You are in serious trouble because you're going to have a hard time bringing them down. So, anyway, guys, that's all I got to say. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to hit that like button and the subscribe button. But with that, boys, I'm going to call it a night. I'll see you guys in the stream tomorrow. Love you guys. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, like, subscribe, share. And I'll see you boys on the other side. Zera out.